What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I am out here in Detroit, Michigan to take an up close and personal look at the all-new 2026 Kia K4 Hatchback. Now, I did get to spend some time with the sedan in Austin, Texas back in December. I got to drive that one. Really enjoyed the car, very nice car, but I'm especially excited for this new hatchback that I think looks even better. I know it's gonna have some very sporty driving dynamics. I can't wait to get my hands on it to actually be able to drive it. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the details that we know so far because there aren't a lot of them, some specific specs and stuff with pricing, MPGs, stuff like that. We're not gonna learn until closer to the launch date. So for now, we're gonna take the information we know, take a close look, so stay tuned. So as always, we're gonna start this review here underneath the hood. Here in this GT line turbo, we have a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. This puts out 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with an 8-speed automatic. In the EX and GT line trim levels, we get a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, puts out 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with a CVT. No word yet on fuel economy or 0 to 60, but we can expect it probably won't be too far off from the sedan. All right, taking a look here at the all-new K4 hatchback. If you're familiar with the sedan, well, it's the exact same. But what you can't get on the sedan is this insane-looking, sparkling yellow. This is exclusive to the K4 hatchback, and man, if I saw this coming down the road, I would have to stop and stare. You just don't see this. It's very unique, and this car has a unique personality, and I think it fits it quite well. So even though it is just like the sedan, we're still gonna go over it. So we have the tiger nose grille here, same as we see on the K4 sedan. On this GT line turbo, we get gloss black here on this upper opening. Also down here on the bottom, we get this really tasteful flat silver here on the top of the grille. Another accent down here at the bottom. Forward-facing camera right there. And I really like this brushed metal look finish here on this Kia badge. Really upscale looking. I'm not crazy about how this looks here at the bottom. Not sure if it's trying to look like a vent because it's not, but it's flat black. This otherwise looks very premium, but that one part right there is kind of cheap looking. But we got gloss black going along the bottom, going around that part there. And honestly, I think this is just one of the best looking front ends I've seen in a long time. Front end design, Kia really knocked it out of the park. So this GT line turbo gets these small square lighting elements in the headlight. It's a full LED headlight. You got your low beam right there, and these come on when you activate the high beam. We also have this really sharp angled LED daytime running light, and it's amber. I really like the amber daytime running light, similar to the original Telluride when it first came out. It just looks a lot sharper than white. Now the vertical aspect of the light looks really cool, but I like how they kept the horizontal part too. And I just like the way how they took the housing and just made it blend seamlessly into the grille like that. Really good design. Now real quick, let's talk trim levels. So this only has 3 trim levels. We have the EX, the GT line, and the GT line turbo. So the LX and the LXS from the sedan, you will not find here on the hatch. And also that base EX is gonna look a bit different from the GT line and the GT line turbo. And the main giveaway is gonna be the wheels. So here on this GT line turbo, we have these blacked out 18-inch wheels. On the non-turbo GT line, it's essentially the same wheel design, but aluminum alloy with a few gloss black accents, but it's not fully gloss black like this one. And then you get a 17-inch wheel on the EX. So here on this GT line turbo, we have these Kumo Majesty Solus all-season tires, 235 on the width with a 40 series sidewall. Now the side profile of the K4 hatchback, I think, is my favorite angle of this car. I think they shaped the back of it really nicely, and I personally think this looks 100 times better than the sedan. To me, I feel like this car was made to be a hatchback because I just think the way the design comes together, it just seems much more natural here on the hatch. And while there are similarities, especially with the rear lighting, I think it was just executed so much better here on the hatchback. So both GT line models get you all this really nice gloss black going around the wheel arches here, going along the bottom, and there's this really small dark gray accent. I'm not sure how it's coming up here on camera, but that's a dark gray right there. So we have gloss black going all around the window trim, except for this piece here at the bottom. I do kind of like this silver trim piece. It's not shiny chrome, it's flat silver. It's got a light sheen to it, and I like the way it kind of flares flares out here at the rear. And just like the sedan, it has that signature hidden door handle in the pillar. You know, not having that door handle in the back on the door, I don't know, it just adds a little something. And, you know, they were able to put in this character line that they have here. I mean, they probably still could have with the door handle, but I think the lack of the door handle helps accentuate that body line better. And this has this really cool floating roofline illusion with this black piece right here, the way it blends from the window into the rear. Gas cap is there in the same spot as the sedan, and again, we don't have figures yet on the capacity of the fuel tank. And that floating roofline illusion continues here in the front too. They, you know, separated this pillar here from the fender with this it's amazing what just a little bit of paint can do design-wise. So the roofline looks like it is completely floating. That I think is really cool. Here on the mirror cap, gloss black on this GT line and GT line turbo. LED turn signal indicator included there. And again, with that flat silver, it goes along the bottom of the mirror, kind of slopes up towards the side there. I think it's just a really premium looking mirror. Most mirrors you'll find flat black along the bottom, or flat black like right here where it meets the door. It's very like luxury car looking. Like it just looks a class above. And you have your camera right there, part of your 360 camera system. All right, now coming back here to the rear end, pretty notable slope of the rear glass there. As you can see, it looks really clean. You don't see a wiper, but the wiper is tucked underneath this spoiler that sticks out here at the top. Got these cool gloss black accents that come down the side of the glass, and then this under part here is also gloss black. We have this really wide third brake light, and you'll notice that the tail lights pretty much look identical to the ones that you find on the K4 sedan. Now this GT line turbo will get you these full LED lights in the rear. The lower trim levels, it'll be a combination LED and incandescent, but it has that same vertical orientation theme that we have in the headlights up front, and they kept the vertical and the horizontal aspect too. It mirrors the front very well. Now, one thing I would have liked to see is that if they made this light bar go all the way across, because they made the housing essentially go all the way across, even though technically it ends here, but they made this black accent piece kind of look like a continuation of it going into the next taillight on the other side. K4 badge right there. GT line on the other side, and this has that same brushed metallic Kia logo like up front. License plate is located down in the bumper. We got some nice white LED lighting to illuminate that, and gloss black on the lower bumper. Interesting design element right here. Almost looks like it's trying to be a diffuser. Not really sure, but they integrated the reverse lights into it. You can see these 5 pieces sticking out right here that are clear. That is your reverse light. And we have some sensors along the back. So a very important component of a hatchback is storage, right? That's kind of the main reason you buy it over the sedan, although honestly, I just like this better. I would get this over the sedan anyway. And what's impressive about this is that it has cargo space that is equivalent to some subcompact SUVs, for example, the Honda HR-V. So we do have this cargo cover right here so no one can peep in and see what you got back there. And I do have my duffel bag in there for reference. The way you see it here, this has 22.2 cubic feet of storage. As you can see, we have a 60-40 split there. Now, coming over to the left side here, we do have an LED light there off to the left. Subwoofer there for the Harman Kardon audio system. We'll take a listen to that in a little bit. If we look underneath the floor, luckily we do still get a donut spare tire. A lot of companies are doing away with spare tires, so glad to see that one is still there. We do have a hook on each side, no connectivity, but you wouldn't really expect that in this class. Now, to drop these second row seats, we don't have a lever here in the back, so we do have to go inside into the back seat. You can see right there through the window. This right here folds down your seat. So if we look underneath there, you can see through to the interior. I'm not gonna remove the cargo cover since, other people have to film with this car. But once you fold down all the seats, you have 59.3 cubic feet of space. So in a car that is essentially, the size of a compact sedan, nearly 60 cubic feet of cargo space, that is very impressive. And I almost forgot to mention, this K4 hatchback is 11 inches shorter than the K4 sedan. So now we are inside the all-new 2026 Kia K4 hatchback, and you're probably saying, well, it looks like the sedan. And you'd be correct. The interior is identical to the K4 sedan. Shocker. But regardless, let's go over it. So over here on the dash, soft touch on the upper. It's not super soft, but it's got a soft texture. Then we have this interesting texture on this plastic here. It's not really mimicking anything like carbon fiber, but it's just something to add a little bit more character. We have this glossy gray finish right here that I think looks a lot better than gloss black, hides dust and fingerprints a lot better. And you can see the optional ambient lighting that we have here, this nice purple color. I really like that. Of course, you can change the color. So we have an ambient lighting strip tucked in the dash right there. And then on the lower part of the door, you can see it illuminates right from underneath where the switch gear and the armrest is. So on the passenger side there, and then same thing on the driver's side door. And unfortunately, there is no ambient lighting in the rear, but we do get it up front. And also, as far as accents and stuff, we get these aluminum door sills that say GT line on them, and we get the aluminum foot pedals down below. Those look really nice and high end. Material quality on the door, it's the same as the dash, soft touch on the upper, although it's a lot softer on here than it is up here. Really nice leatherette here. So this uses Syntex leatherette for this interior. And a big plus on this K4 hatchback is that the Syntex comes standard. So there is no cloth seating on any of the trims for the K4 hatchback. We get the nice Syntex on all trims. Decent storage pocket down here at the bottom. Again, I really like the way they integrated this ambient lighting strip. The door handle, while it may look like metal, obviously it's not at this price point, but really nice look to the door handle. So we have heated seats. Optional, we can get the ventilated seats. Optional, 2 memory settings for the driver. So now looking at the seat, 2-tone colorway, the black with the white, really nice. We have GT line embossed into the seat. Headrest is nice and soft. We have a fully perforated seating surface here. And on the black part, we have some nice white contrast stitching. And you'd be really pressed to try to figure out, if no one told you, whether or not this is leather or leatherette. Feels like the real deal, looks like the real deal, and I think that's awesome. There's also an available red interior package that gives you red seats and even red on the steering wheel too. I mean, I know that is gonna look incredible. Here we have the steering wheel, again, identical to the K4 sedan and a lot of other Kia models that are currently out. And I really like how they kept the 2-tone design also on the wheel, the horn button in white and the inside of this upper part. Flat bottom, semi-flat top, thick bolsters at 10 and 2. It's a leather wrapped steering wheel. And on the GT line turbo and the GT line non-turbo, I believe, you get these paddle shifters on the back. That's especially good for this GT line turbo having the 8-speed automatic. Controls on the left side are for your digital gauge display right there. 12.3 inches on the gauge display. Over here on the left side, we have the adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist buttons, and again, more buttons to go through your display. On the right side, we get audio controls. So volume, fast forward, rewind, favorites, your phone button, mode, and voice command. Down here at the bottom, drive mode selector. So very streamlined on the drive modes. We got normal and sport. That is all. Now, in addition to this digital gauge display, 12.3 inches, we also get the 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen. And then we get this third display here in the middle. It's a 5-inch display that works with the AC controls. So down here, your AC controls, there's a streamlined version of it. So just your temperature, fan speed, mode, and then your temperature for your passenger, since we do have dual zone climate. But the rest of your AC controls are all up here. So turn it on, you can go through the fan speed and stuff here. And then you have your zone with a little diagram of the person. So you have your upper and lower zone. And then you have your defrosters, your recirculate, and then your temperatures here. You can either sync or unsync. And then you also have this little diagram that can show up too. So we have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This also has Kia's AI assistant. It also has the advanced 360 camera that I'm a huge fan of in all of the Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia models that I've tried out. It's got this 3D model. Now, while we're indoors, the lighting makes it look a little bit weird, but you have your top-down view, your 360 there, and then your backup camera and your forward-facing camera as well. Interesting volume knob. It's kind of like a roller that goes up and down as opposed to just a normal knob. As far as connections, down below, 2 USB-C ports, and we get a 12-volt wireless charger there. Your start-stop button is there. We still get a traditional shifter. This doesn't have the same shifter as some of the new Kia EV models that have it over here on the steering column. But you know what? I think I prefer just the traditional look instead. Leatherette shift boot, nice stitching. That looks really nice. And then down here, we have the really cool cup holders that I really liked in the K4 sedan. They can go back in like that to accommodate larger drinks, and the way they kind of swivel out, that's really cool. Inside the center console, storage, it's an okay size. It's not huge. And then we have the key fob right here. That's your typical Kia key fob. Now, unfortunately, this one does not come with remote smart parking assist, or smart park as it's known. This does have digital key 2.0, but no smart park, unfortunately. You can remote start here from the key fob, or you could do it, you know, in the app from your phone as well. Inside the glove box, it's a pretty average sized glove box. That's respectable. Up above, we have a moonroof that it's like slightly bigger than standard. It's not panoramic, but to me, it's bigger than a standard. And it has this power retractable shade. That's really cool. I'm also a big fan of the black headliner that we have in here. I just don't like the gray headliners. This just, to me, just looks a whole lot better. So as I mentioned earlier, this has an 8-speaker Harman Kardon audio system. So let's take a listen. Pretty good clarity in the mid and high range frequencies, and the bass isn't overpowering either, so I'd say overall that sounds pretty solid to me. So now to head into the back seat, we get to use that really cool door handle right there. So let's step in. All right, so I have the driver's seat adjusted for myself at 6 feet tall, and I have maybe 4 or 5 inches of legroom to spare, which is good. Now, unfortunately, we only get one pocket in the back, and it's that fishnet style that I'm really not a fan of, so we don't have one here, but we do get the rear AC vents. Thank God for that. 2 USB-Cs down at the bottom and a small storage pocket. Now over here on the door panel, unfortunately here at the top, they did cheap out on the materials, which is interesting because I was just in the new EV4 and it had the carryover from the front with the soft touch. This one does not, but we do get the Syntex here on the side of the door panel and on the armrest, but we still get that really cool door handle. Storage pocket down below, you can fit like 1 water bottle there, not much more. One thing that's great about the hatchback is that the roof line doesn't slope quite as much as the sedan, so there is more headroom here in the rear. So that is going to wrap up this first detailed look at the new 2026 Kia K4 Hatchback. A huge thank you to Kia for sending me here to Detroit, Michigan to check this out so that I could share it with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and be sure to follow @Optical Automotive on TikTok and Instagram, and check out the page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.